Hello, guys. Welcome back to another season of NBA Reels. You may be a little surprised with our new setup, with our new thing we've got going on here. So, glad to be back after a while and to kick things off. I'm Pranav and I'm joined with Arvind,
Arvind.
the usual. You know what this is. So, Arvind, let's get started with this season. I'll let you kick things off.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we are at season 6 of NBA Reels, and with the conclusion of the 24-25 season, we saw a new champion. OKC Thunder has been a franchise that has gone through a lot in the past 10 years, specifically with their franchise's best player at that point of time departing for their rival in the same conference, leading to a series of events that eventually led to them tanking a couple seasons and then eventually getting a lot of draft picks for Paul George along with their current finals MVP. It's been a very rewarding period for them, and their young core is here to stay for sure. But as always, this is a new season, unpredictable season, and for the past 7 years, we've seen 7 champions. Will this year be the same, or will OKC show that they're not just any other team, but they're a dynasty to stay? That's one of the most interesting topics that I'm interested in looking at this season.
Yeah, it's a great way of looking at it. I feel knowing that the last dynasty was the Warriors back when they acquired KD. Even before they acquired KD, they were on the cusp of it, obviously, in 2016. They blew that 3-1 lead. And in my opinion, that might be the last organic dynasty. Because right now, if the Thunder don't win, right, it's going to be really hard to see that kind of stuff happening in today's NBA because you have to have a stretch where you don't make many mistakes, right? You have to have complementary pieces just show up in the draft or some obviously coming through trade to bolster your already existing superstar core. And for the OKC Thunder, man, it was the Clippers' mistake. So some team needs to lose big time in order to make this kind of franchise altering move happen. But yeah, going into the season, I'm really excited to tackle that. Yeah, heartbreak for the Pacers though, who also
Sure.
lost a major piece going into the season. What do you think about Miles Turner going to the Bucks from the Pacers? One of their arch rivals, not like the
It's not a
rivalry's been there for the
rivalry if
past
the
2 years.
Pacers keep winning. It's not a rivalry if the Pacers keep winning. But it is very interesting to see why he chose the Bucks, because as one of the Pacers, I would imagine him to also be of the opinion that the Bucks are a rival in the same conference that we've been multiple times, and we sort of have beef with them. Him jumping at the offer that the Bucks gave was kind of surprising to me, and I'm pretty sure it was surprising for all the Pacers teammates as well, because they don't seem to be on good terms with him. So it's kind of beef between Miles and Hallie, Obi, Siakam, and everyone. So it's kind of a questionable decision, but hey, he got paid, he took it. So I can't really blame him, man. There are people defending KD, talking about how it was his decision to go to the Warriors and nobody can do anything. So I mean, at the end of the day, the NBA is a business, and he just made the best business move that made sense to him.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'll give you another perspective on this. All these seasons, right? Every single off season, I see reports that Miles Turner actually will leave the season. He's not that happy, and the fucking season that he chooses to leave is the season where they make it to the finals. I think right now the East is pretty much wide open, right? No matter who
Mhm.
you sign, other than the fact that if your team is fully healthy and you have like perfectly fitting pieces. I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference between, say, the Bucks and the Pacers. And the Pacers have had much more playoff success in recent years. They made conference finals as well as a finals now, right?
Yeah.
So it just seems really untimely for him to leave. And yeah, like just like you said, it's just a money decision. But I don't see what Miles Turner has to gain from that extra money that he could have got some of it from the Pacers anyway. So yeah, just a little weird.
Yeah. See, the problem with that move, I saw reports of Turner not even willing to wait to listen to the Pacers counteroffer.
Yeah.
That to me was pretty suspicious, because you've been in the Pacers for about 10 years of your career. You've been in trade talks almost every single offseason since 2020.
Drafted by the Pacers.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Pacers. He's been in trade talks every single year since 2020. And He's stayed loyal. The team has stayed loyal to him. Leaving on this note definitely feels like there was something more that we are not aware about. But
That's a fair
hey,
point.
to each their own. But yeah, there are other more interesting free agency moves that I like to talk about. Specifically, the trade that sent KD to the Rockets and Jalen Green to the Suns.
Yeah.
As a
I'm
Rockets
real
fan,
happy.
yeah, as
I'm
a
real
Rockets fan,
happy
I'm
with
pretty sure you have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, so I think going into this season, I think the Rockets had a major issue, and this was really pointed out by the Warriors during the last postseason, and that was Jalen Green's ceiling in the playoffs, right? And
Yeah,
now, don't get me wrong, I really like Jalen Green and what he brought to the Rockets team, especially last season, where he showed us that he can be the leading scorer on a team that can be a top three, top four team at worst in the Western Conference, a loaded Western Conference as well. Just like everything must come to an end if the playoffs are not where you can shine. I feel like even if you're a really good regular season player, what happens is that you go to the playoffs and then just something doesn't click. And that's what happened with Jalen Green, in my opinion. And everybody else was playing really good. Shengun, Smith, even Dylan Brooks had a few signature games. Van Vliet obviously had a really good series as a whole. But the Warriors could really exploit every single part of Houston because Jalen Green was not even able to keep an average of 20 PPG. So their biggest deficiency was having half court scorer who could get to spots every single time and someone who you could go to in the clutch. So that was a deficiency they filled by adding one of the most prolific scorers in NBA history. So I feel like the Rockets did win this trade, but then Fred VanVleet injured his ACL. So this is the part where the Rockets might need a little more support. But through the offseason, the Rockets have been great. We got Capella, we got Dorian Finney-Smith. Even though DFS hasn't played yet, that's a good move. And they also did finally bolster their center depth with Capella. So it's a good offseason for the Rockets. So what do you think? What do you think about the Rockets? Since you're not really fond of KD, right?
I would definitely say that this is one of the most strategic and well thought out off season by a franchise that I've seen in quite some time. I've always known the Warriors to be really good in this department of getting the players that they think they need, they know they need at positions that are problems for them. The Rockets have done a terrific job of trading the most reliable guard that they had in the playoffs last season. And for who? For one of the best scorers, like you said. And not only that, they got DFS, who was pretty big for the Lakers last season. Capella, who is a pretty good lob threat and has history with the Rockets. So he's going to feel right at home. And I feel like Coach Udoka is a pretty smart guy, honestly. He took the Celtics to their first finals since 2010. His first year as head coach with them. I think the last season was his second year with the Rockets, right? So
Yeah.
for him to have success with a team that was really bad a couple seasons prior to him joining is truly a testament to his abilities, and you got to give credit where credit's due. I feel like he can unlock a new side of the Rockets with KD. Of course, Fred VanVleet being out is impactful, but I feel like they're definitely going to be top contenders. So yeah, it's a
One
good
concern that
offseason.
I would mention for the Rockets, like you said, Udoka is a really, really smart coach. He knows what adjustments to make, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
what you said. But Udoka, the only problem with him is he's much more defensive minded than I would like him to be. And that can get you far, like the Celtics to the finals. And even last year, the Rockets, the adjustments that they made to go to game 7 with GSW. With a player like KD and having no true point guard, I'd like to see what he has planned in an offensive perspective because I feel like that's where we're lacking. Playing really big lineups in the first two games of this season, what I saw was that we're playing a lot of lengthy, big size lineups. But in terms of offensive potential, I feel like the plays that we run, everything can be improved. But yeah, again, KD is just fitting in, right? So we'll
I
switch.
agree. Yeah, yeah. So see, they've lost both the games that they've played. But I understand that this is an 82 game season and assumptions can't be made for people who are 2 and 0, and assumptions can't be made for people who are 0 and 2 either. It is a long
We're
season.
talking about okay.
Nah, I'm not talking about OKC. I'm talking about the Hawks. I think the Hawks are 1 and 1. They're not 2. OKC is known to be a good team, so I'm not really counting them out or anything. They're defending champions for a reason. Can't really count them out in any situation. Shea had 90 points in his first two games.
Uh, Shot how many free throws? More
That
free
doesn't
throws and
matter.
field goals.
He's getting the W's, although both games had to go to WOT. He's getting the W's, and that's what matters, right? Their record is 2-0. And
And no J-Dub as well. So pretty
yeah.
good.
So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But I think in terms of just the off-season moves and trades that are notable, I want to talk about the unction in Los Angeles. Not with the Lakers, but with the Clippers. So they got Bradley Beal, they got Brook Lopez, they got Harden and Kawhi already over there. They got the point guard, CP3. I don't know what they are trying to accomplish this season, but it's definitely not a championship.
I think looking at it in a way that says the average age is very high, yeah. I do think
Yeah,
that they don't have enough young talent, maybe because a few of their young players also left, and Norman Powell also leaving is a big hole. But I feel the Clippers did try to plug that all their deficiencies from last season really well because they got John Collins, who, in my opinion, is a
I
really,
agree.
really good player.
I
You saw
agree.
the run that he had with the Hawks, right?
I agree. With a good point guard, he's an amazing lob threat, which the Clippers have two of,
Yeah.
the point guard himself and the beard.
Problem I feel is Bradley Beal for the Clippers. I don't know where he fits. Beal is not the scorer that he used to be. He's more of a playmaking guard hybrid now. He's more of a combo guard who Harden already handles that role really well, right?
Exactly.
And in that perspective, I haven't seen Bradley Beal do much of good for the Clippers in the first two games that I saw. Harden had to carry, and Kawhi had a decent game, and he had one of the worst games in his career. Did you see that game one?
I was gonna talk about it because it was the Utah Jazz. It was not the OKC Thunder or the Rockets or anything of that sort. And for the Clippers to start off on that note is something I didn't really expect, number one. Number two, I think we really have to tone down our expectations and look at Bradley Beal as not even a combo guard. He is just a shooting guard who cannot shoot. See, if you look at his last season with the Suns, he was not a good shooter. On wide open shots, he was bricking most of them. So, considering him a threat in 2025, 2026 is not really the way to go, in my opinion.
I'd
And
still say
sure,
he's good, right? Like he had 38% from three and nearly 50% from the field, but he only averaged 17. I'd say he had to play next to KD and Book, right? So it's
I
natural.
mean, like you said previously, if your play does not translate to the playoffs, what's the point of the regular season? And especially for a veteran like Beal, you would expect him to adapt to what he's been doing usually and to modify how he plays in the playoffs. That's what I expect of a veteran who's been in the league for as long as, a four-time champion like Draymond Green. Both of them joined the league in 2012. He has had his own playoff runs with the Wizards, with John Wall, been on the Suns. He's been to the playoffs with KD and Devin Booker. And I just expect him to show more of that experience in the playoffs. He was a complete liability against the Timberwolves when the Suns got swept. And it's really about how you make it work on a winning stage. That's what I want to see from Bradley Beal, and I hope Harden and CP3 can do something about it. I really think they could, but again, as with anything, we yet to see.
It's very fair. It's very, very fair. A good assessment of Bradley Beal, I think. And I think another team that we are really excited to see in this season, especially, is the Denver Nuggets. Once removed, twice removed champions, losing 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, in the
What do you
conference
think
semis,
about their
I feel
offseason
like
moves?
see, I feel like Denver really upgraded this season. MPJ going out and Cam Johnson coming in is definitely an upgrade. Cam Johnson is a seasoned 3 and D player. He's been to the finals.
Finals player, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's been to the finals. He's been on multiple teams. He's gone from being on a team that had no business being in the playoffs to going to the finals. So it's really about how that experience can translate alongside an NBA champion and a three-time MVP like Jokic. I feel like it could definitely do wonders for both him personally and the team. I'm really excited to see how that works. I think the Nuggets did themselves a favor by getting rid of MPJ as his contract was expiring. Getting a good player for an expiring contract is always a good thing to do. That was one thing. They got Bruce Brown back, which
Unfair.
yeah, as as not a Nuggets fan, I don't like that because Bruce Brown is a really good player. He was really good for them in 2023, and him leaving that offseason really did have an impact. I believe he left in 2024 after they beat the Lakers in the first round and lost to the Timberwolves in the second round. Correct me if I'm wrong. He joined the Raptors and did some bench warming, and he's now back with the Nuggets. He is the definition of knowing what his role is. A player knowing what his role is. He was perfect alongside Jokic, and I anticipate that chemistry to just continue going forward. It's really about how cohesive they still are with Jamal Murray aging and not being as effective as he used to be in the playoffs. Will Bruce Brown's role increase? I anticipate that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. The other two big notable additions to the Nuggets are Jonas Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway Jr. What do you think about them?
Yeah, so I think this really bolsters their shooting prowess. And I think
Mhm.
one of the major concerns for like the Nuggets, especially even last season, right, was sometimes you'd think Jokic goes to the bench. How are they gonna weather the storm now? And their bench lineups were like horrendous, and they were not able to, do any sort of like scoring or defense. Like opposing teams would go on a big run when Jokic sits and everything like that. But that's also because I think they had no viable option to play at center. They had no real threats coming off the bench. And now
Yeah.
Christian Brown agreed to an extension and he's now part of the starting lineup. And so getting someone like Tim Hardaway, getting someone like Valanciunas to come off the bench is like a really, really good addition for me. For sure, because when you lose someone like MPJ, and obviously, I think a bigger loss for them was the guy who we're going to talk about next, Russell Westbrook, is you need someone off the bench who can give you that energy, right? Who you can,
Yeah.
go to and say, you lead the bench lineup. And I think THA is honestly solid. He's a solid shooter, decent defender, and Valanciunas definitely plugs the center hole. So now it's going to be really interesting to see what lineups they throw out during the regular season to like get Jokic much deserved rest so that he doesn't have to like go all out. This may reduce his chances of winning MVP this season because I don't know if they'll really go to him all that much. Even today, I think looking at the box score, it's seeming like Jokic didn't do much, but a great game from him regardless. He had um, 14, 15, and 14. Okay, never mind. He got it back. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited because the Nuggets are a genuine threat. Last year, they were a genuine threat last year, and now they've gotten better. Jokic's legacy, if he wins a championship this season, is going to be absolutely crazy.
Him winning an MVP, I think, is not really his focus. Winning a championship, however, is something I believe that he really wants to do. You see these posts about Jokic treating the NBA like a 9 to 5, and he just can't wait to go back to his horses in Serbia. While the demeanor speaks that, I feel like he's as hungry as anyone to win a championship. See, you don't just get to the top by not caring. You don't win 3 MVPs and dominating big men like Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid by not caring. You have to put in the craft, you have to put in the work, and he's one of the smartest players in the league. He knows his spots, he knows where his players are, he knows when to pass, he knows when to shoot, he knows when to play defense, although he didn't against the Warriors in the clutch, but he knows what he's doing. And that's the most important part of being an MVP, being the best player in the league, arguably. I'm kind of inclining towards Shea, but you can't really be the best player when you can't. You need to dominate in all aspects of the game, I believe, and Jokic has clearly done that. He's been an unstoppable offensive force over the past few seasons, and that's what the best player in the world needs to do. I think Shea is not too far away from that, though. I know he's primarily a scorer, but that's part of making yourself unguardable and an offensive juggernaut, the most important part. So I'm pretty interested to see how the MVP race is going to look like this season. Like I said, I don't think it's on his bucket list, Jokic's bucket list to win another MVP more than winning a championship, but he might end up being the top two, top three.
There's only one guy in my bucket list to win MVP, and that guy plays for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes, I believe he has something to prove this season.
He's going off.
He's going off the first two games of the season. He's had 2 points more than SGA's 90, which itself is a record, which I think, if I'm not wrong, SGA, when he had those 90 points, was the first guard to score that many points since Michael Jordan in the 80s. And then the next day, Luka came over and scored 92.
Thing is,
So-
though, Luka did it in both games in regulation. Think about that for a second.
Exactly. That's crazier, in my opinion. One in a loss, one in a win, but nevertheless.
Yeah.
Jumping
And
to
yeah, I think-
Luka and the Lakers. Yeah. The Lakers have started the season off without LeBron for the first time in 23 years. That LeBron's not playing on opening night. And it's definitely weird, but Luka has been making up for it. He's been the show to watch in LA, and the energy feels different. Obviously, I'm biased as a Lakers and LeBron fan, but the energy feels different. The effort that they're putting in feels different because of players like Marcus Smart, mainly. He brings that defensive intensity that the Lakers need, the defensive identity that they desperately are looking for. And JJ Redick, I'm pretty sure, is thrilled to have him on the Lakers. DeAndre Ayton has been playing well so far. First game was not that great, but second game was good. But you can never predict something with a player like him. He also has been to the finals, but at the same time, it's something that he needs to settle into. I feel like he's a very temperamental player. He doesn't really love the game that much. I mean, that's what at least I've seen when he was on the Suns. The way he quite literally forced his way out. So, it's like I said, it's a long season. Players are different. The energy is different. Reeves has been a bona fide 25-5-5 player to start the season off. I hope he continues that. LeBron coming in does not diminish anyone's role, but hopefully it enhances everyone's role, including LeBron's. But it's going to be interesting to see how Luka's revenge tour is going to look like.
What do you think about Bill Simmons not even having the Lakers in the top six or winning the play-in?
I really don't give a shit about Bill Simmons. His takes mean nothing to even Celtics fans, in my opinion. He's not logical analyst, in my opinion. He's pretty biased, especially against LeBron. And sure, the Lakers don't have. I feel like they need to have better 3-and-D players because come playoff time, Austin Reeves is going to be a defensive liability. Luka might be a defensive liability. I don't know yet. He's been pretty good in the first two games.
8.
DeAndre Ayton, exactly. He's been good in the playoffs, but you never know. It's been a while since he was in the playoffs.
And
So,
of course, Mr. LeBron.
yes, exactly. How he deals with injuries, how a year 23 LeBron is going to look like come playoff time if the Lakers are in the playoffs. His body definitely needs to do some sort of load management to be more effective in the playoffs. And that's pretty normal at this point. But how is it all going to translate? Because the league's not getting any simpler. The Western Conference is not getting any simpler. The way Wemby shut down Anthony Davis and gave him 40 piece to remember is something that I did not see coming on opening night. You can't really predict such nights. First game of the season, he's doing that to arguably a top 3 defender of our generation.
Yeah. I mean, I think Wemby is now comfortably the best defender in the league right now. In the first two games, like you said, opening night genuinely shocked me based on what he did to AD and Cooper Flag. Also, Cooper Flag was hyped up to no end, and he got outshined by another rookie, VJ Combe. But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get to that. The thing is, though, looking at it like that, Wemby was going off. There was one possession, I think, where he had some hezzies through the legs, and then AD literally shut him off. He was in his grill, and then he made a mid-range jumper over him, and then AD was just standing like, nothing more I can do, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers game. And if Wemby stays healthy, he is projected to win the Defensive Player of the Year, which I think no one's going to disagree with. The simplest thing that I can say is, will he win it consecutively till he's healthy? This is going to be like one of the most dominant stretches if he can stay healthy, because he is now getting more and more skilled offensively. And if he models his game after someone like Kevin Durant, I don't think there's a ceiling on this guy. This guy is going to be like good for years and years to come.
And for him to go out of all the teams that could have had the number one pick that year, for the Spurs to get it, a historic franchise known for their dominant big men,
We should have
it's
got it.
poetic. But
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how the Spurs are this season. Of course, in his second season, he wasn't able to play the full season. So it's really a question of health at this point for Wemby, nothing else. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on the Brody in Sacramento.
That really made me very, very happy. I mean, it was a little bit tumultuous going into the season whether Russell Westbrook was going to be signed on an NBA team or not. And the only team that was even ready to sign him was the Kings. And I was like, doesn't make any sense for the Kings to even sign him. Why are the Kings even looking at him? But then the level of poverty that these Kings are, they're like, Westbrook, we're not making the playoffs anyway.
Sure, hashtag why not?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. I'm happy for us, don't get me wrong. I'm really happy. And I think he does deserve a roster spot. But not on the Kings, man. Like, the Kings just don't fit him. And they already have, like, so many ball-dominant players. Like, they have Lavine, they have DeRozan, they have Sabonis, who is literally a center hub, who, like, comes through, what to say, top of the key he stands. Everybody gets handoffs from him. So what is Russ going to do? Get a handoff from Sabonis, go into a three-point shot? What? This just makes no sense.
They also have Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, yeah. And another great offseason addition.
Yeah. I think the Kings forgot that there's just one ball in a basketball game.
This is like reminding me of that Thunder season, right? When CP3, SGA, and Schroeder played. They played 3-guard lineups all the time. You can't do that with Russ. They had 3 shooters. They had 3 actually good middies and 3-point shooters. So you can do that with that kind of team. But now it just seems like they're just going for like, oh, we have a lot of star power in the past who used to be really, really good and can like get you 25-30 a night. But now, Lavine is having a really great start to the season though.
See, like I said, Zach LaVine has been showing flashes of brilliance, but consistency is the main issue. Zach LaVine and DeRozan played together on the Bulls. When Lonzo was healthy their first season, they actually were the number one seed at one point in time in the season. But he got injured and then the energy kind of shifted and they dropped down in the standings. Nevertheless, they did make the playoffs that year, but they lost to the Bucks in the first round 4-1. DeRozan is definitely still an elite scorer from the mid-range. Zach LaVine is a good shooter, good slasher. But how is this all going to be cohesive? How is this going to contribute to winning basketball? Because I'm pretty sure that's what the Kings signed them for. They've had a taste of the playoffs in the past few years, taste of the playoffs in the play-in. And I feel like they're definitely looking to at least get into the next step of at least going to the playoffs consistently. But it doesn't look that bright for them.
I think Kings aside, I think few other notable traits that I think we can talk about are Horford going to Golden State. And I think this is significant because I feel like Golden State is now on its last legs. They really need a really send-off season, in my opinion, for Steph Curry. Because Draymond's not getting any younger. Jimmy Butler's not getting any younger. And this is the core that they chose to build around when they traded Klay Thompson. And big issue for Golden State is they were never able to go big. They always had to play a small ball lineup and worry about whether some other team can outmatch Draymond Green, which happened last year in the playoffs when Steven Adams was playing and GSW just didn't have the strength to out-rebound Steven Adams. So I think this year and the next year, I think, are championship and bust seasons for the Warriors, because other than that, how else do you maximize Steph Curry? He's like, 37, 38, right?
Yeah, 37.
So,
see, while I understand that it's kind of going towards the end for Steph Curry, I definitely know that this is not the last season.
Of his prime, don't you think that these 2 seasons will be the best that you have to maximize? Because after that, I feel they will regress and they might not be able to keep the same core together, at least, right? They might have to pivot to a younger star. Like, just look at the Kuminga situation. They had to worry so much about his contract because they were worried about how to maximize this core right now for Steph.
Yeah.
If not, I feel like they could have just signed Kuminga and then even kept Jordan Poole, in my opinion. I mean, that had a different.
That was never going to happen. Jordan Poole was never going to be on the Warriors. It's a miracle that he was, even after they had the fight. He was on that team for one whole year. They lost to the Lakers in the playoffs that year. 2023. It's kind of weird how they had to break it up the very season after they won a championship. It's kind of sad. But yeah, I mean, moving on from the trades to the first 5 days of the 2025-2026 regular season. Apart from the points that we've already discussed, I feel like VJ Edgecombe, the rookie in Philadelphia,
Absolute.
the humble guy, by the way, because when he was asked about his 34-point performance in his opening night, he said it's just one game. You got to see how I got to be better after this. And for a rookie, to have that level of an understanding of how long an NBA season is truly mind-blowing and very, very reassuring to see. Because at the end of the day, he's going to be the future of the league one fine day. Or at least part of the future of the league if he keeps playing like this. It's really the mindset that matters, especially in the young players. He's apparently from the Bahamas. So he has that chip on his shoulder to be better, to prove that he's better. And I feel like on the Sixers, he has a good opportunity to prove his mettle alongside Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George. Don't even get me started on how Embiid was with his 4 points. I just feel sad at this point. He's not able to jump. He's not able to.
He did have 20 today.
I mean, 20 and 4. He's averaging 12 for the season.
It's just 2 games, man. I feel like Embiid is overhated now. And I saw his media day thing and I was really happy. I think Joel Embiid right now has figured out that in the situation that he's in, right, with the knees being how it is, some days he knows he might not even be able to play. He knows that he might not be able to be 100% of his MVP self. And he's fine with that. He's willing to make peace with that. And I'm happy for him. I feel like Philly also is great for understanding that. And now that they have someone like Edgecombe and when Paul George eventually comes back, I feel like this is a good core to build around. And talking about Edgecombe, right? Do you think you've actually seen a better performance in the first ever game in TD Garden against the Celtics? I don't think I've seen a rookie more composed than that. That was magical. Like, I've not seen this guy. This guy was like dunking all over the place. He was making 3-pointers. He was going band for band with Tyrese Maxey, an established veteran. And genuinely, his humility really made the difference for me. I think he has a great, great future in the league. And outshining Cooper Flag on your debut is really good because Cooper Flag has gotten immense praise from Team USA members, including LeBron and AD. And, at that point, I think this is really, really good for Philly. They finally hit after the process, ironically enough. So that's really good.
Yeah, I believe it's time for Philly to start moving on from trusting the process. They need to realize that the process has been done. It's done and dusted. Trusting it is no longer what's going to work. It's kind of the dead horse theory at this point. It's a dead horse. You can't keep analyzing what's wrong or what can be done. It's dead. As sad as that is to say out loud. You got to maximize your prime. How can you not be to a single conference finals? The one that will always sting, always sting for Philly fans is 2021. They had it in the palm of their hands. And against an inexperienced Atlanta team.
Who haven't made it back to conference finals since
Conference finals ever since, yeah. I don't even think they've crossed the first round ever since, have they? I don't think so.
Holy, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah, 2022, 2023. They lost the Heat in one of the planes, if I'm not wrong.
Right. Oh my god, yeah. Looking at it like that, yeah. And Hawks have also been making questionable moves. The Murray trade, everything was like really iffy, right? Like we already spoke about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really disappointing that I think Philly could have actually made the finals that season if, they had beat the Hawks. But yeah, it's again a big what if.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's where the whole Ben Simmons saga started, going downhill for the Sixers. But
But enough
yeah,
about the Sixers, man. I think we'll
yeah,
have to wait to see.
yeah, I agree. But on an overall scale, I'm really excited to see all the young teams this season. Teams like the Magic, teams like the Pelicans. How are they gonna be? Is Jordan Poole going to the Pelicans gonna make a difference? They have players like Brandon Ingram, Jordan Poole, Zion Williamson. Everyone has something to prove. I really want such young teams to make an impact and show that they belong, because at the end of the day, the East especially is up for grabs at this point. The Celtics are injured. The Knicks, sure. The Pacers are without their star point guard. So I don't know if the Bucks are going to be any good. They don't have Dame anymore, and even if they did, he wouldn't be playing. East is wide open for sure.
The season starting really proved that the first game of this NBA season averaged the highest viewers it's had in a while now. And I think a lot of it has to do with how the NBA is approaching viewership now. And another part of it has to do with KD's return to OKC at their ring ceremony. And what a game that was, right? I think this really showed us what the Western Conference really holds for us this season, with the game going to double overtime, having multiple controversial moments where KD called timeout after the first overtime, and it was really really wild. It really gave us a sneak peek into how the best teams in the West are going to look like, especially with OKC. But OKC was was missing J Dub, so this game was one for the ages. If you guys haven't caught it yet, go check it out. It's one of the best games I've seen on opening night.
I
And
agree.
OKC went to another double OT against in a game 8 matchup against the Indiana Pacers, and that was also really really wild. But I think every
Yeah,
single game this season has been good so far, except for a few blowouts here and there. Good to see the young teams also on the up and up. The Jazz beating the Clippers, like you already mentioned, and Portland beating the Warriors yesterday. There have been a really few good matchups here and there.
yeah. It's definitely been an interesting week so far, and I think it's just going to get better from here on. But like I said, we're going to be tuned in every single day, following all the games, all the news updates, bringing them to you on NBA Reels. So that's it for episode 1, and we'll see you guys in the next one.